Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Oz Table Talk. My name's Luke and I'm at the table with the grinning Dave, Ore and Catalina. Dave's just grinning because we had a false start a minute ago, so it's all right.
And we're pretending like it wasn't.
Yeah, we're pretending like it didn't happen. So.
First take.
Yes. So Catalina, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
It's been too long.
It has. Mm-hmm. We've worked out it's been 3 years.
Yes.
We may have worked that out next week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we actually had this conversation because we've recorded another episode with Catalina today already, which is going to be coming out later. So keep an eye out for that because that will be coming. So, but this episode is our Christmas episode, and so therefore it's coming out Christmas time.
Yes.
Yes. So I want to start by thanking Josh, our good friend Josh, for putting in the effort to build us this mad table.
Yes, I know.
So good.
And we're covering it up, but like check this table out. It's so beautiful.
It's really good quality. What is this?
Resin.
Resin.
Yeah.
The resin and where it meets like the
Smooth, eh?
the plank of
Wood.
Timber.
Well, I'm trying to work out what this, like a slab.
Yes.
Slab.
There we go.
Slab
That's
of
the
timber.
word I was trying to work out.
Yeah.
Slab of timber is just so smooth.
Oh yes. Yeah. Now,
Great work.
For context around this, Josh is a friend of ours. He's a young guy that actually goes to Gingin most of the time, I think. Out at your church.
Yeah.
And Josh volunteered his skills to make a table for us because
It's stunning.
I mentioned that I thought it would be so cool to have this kind of a table, and he said to me, I think I could do that. You know, if you guys can just source the goods for me, I'll make it for you, no worries. And I was like, are you serious? Like, that is so much work. And yeah, Josh was on board for it. So we went about finding some timber, and yeah, he got to work. And you know, for those of you watching on YouTube, you can see it. But if you're watching us, if you're listening to us via the audio only version podcast, we are sitting at a new table, which is timber, and it has, as we were alluding to before, there's a blue resin strip down the center of the table. So it's a beautiful piece, and we really appreciate Josh's work on that. And so it's a big plug for him. If anyone wants beautiful work done in this kind of way, Josh is the guy to chat to if you're in this area.
And if you're listening, you're missing out. Like, really go watch.
That's
the
right.
YouTube
Go look
video,
at it on the YouTube
because you
channel.
need to see this.
Yeah.
It is so.
I love how
good.
you just advertised him. He probably doesn't have time.
Yeah.
By the way, Josh,
he said he would be keen. Like, if people are willing.
So you did ask.
deal.
Yes.
Oh wow, there you go. I take that back.
You are genuinely surprised that I asked permission, are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Normally it doesn't work that way with us. You just tell us what's happening.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably a good reason for that though.
There is.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess it'll be around about that time when this was released. So
Yeah, and it's not like we're a long way ahead, right? We're like next week is Christmas. So
I know.
Yeah.
I saw that on Facebook today. Next week is Christmas. I'm like,
I love
what?
the fact that you needed Facebook to tell you that next week was the 25th of December.
I think it just didn't all click. I'm just like,
yeah.
what?
Yeah.
I get it though. Like, it doesn't feel like this
Does
late in
not
December
feel-
yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No, I agree. No.
Yeah.
So Merry Christmas indeed. We were thinking about how we can, utilize this time and what we can talk about. And I guess the core of the idea that we're going to be talking about, we'll get to in a minute, but I thought it'd be fun to ask you guys first, what has been your relationship to Christmas? Like, obviously there's a lot of different people with a lot of different concepts and all that. So, but what's your history with Christmas looked like?
Oh, I guess, back in WA in the Wild Wild West, like Christmas was just like a really nice, intimate family gathering.
Okay.
Like, we don't have a lot of like extended family and stuff like that. So, because it's just us.
I'm just trying to remember, because you grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, right?
Yeah.
Like, do they celebrate Christmas?
No, so
but you guys
it was an abomination, like to celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But we did try to kind of like just have like a just commemorate it, just not in a very formal way, but just like having a nice dinner, lunch or something like that, but just not have the Christmas tree and the bells and whistles and the presents.
Yeah.
Like presents was we've never given each other presents, even on literally to
Even
this
now.
day.
Okay.
We've never done the whole presents thing because it's just because of that Jehovah's Witness
How do you feel
experience. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I don't know. I don't. I'm not like a material. It's not a love language for me.
This guy would have just been happy for the feed.
Exactly.
Be like,
like,
oh,
your
we're getting
gift-
together for food?
Your
I'm
gift
down.
to me
Yeah.
is the food.
Yeah, literally. Yeah, it's just the family, and just the fact that it's this singular point in time where we just stand still and just enjoy the day together.
Yeah.
So yeah, Christmas wasn't like a big thing. Presents wasn't a big thing. Christmas tree wasn't a big thing. Maybe after we left, Jehovah's Witness Church, we introduced the Christmas tree, but then that's about it. Yeah, it was really just. Occasionally we'll invite like neighbors that like elderly couples or things like that to join us for like a family dinner, which was nice. Like one of the most memorable Christmas dinners or lunches was when there was this elderly couple. We called them Hansel and Gretel. That was the nickname we gave to them. There was just this really sweet elderly couple, and they were like, hey, they're going to be spending alone at Christmas.
Yeah.
Let's invite them over and have a taco together. And it was just that was awesome. I really enjoyed. That was one of my favorite times. Yeah,
Cool.
just to spend with them. Yeah.
I think you said you guys do that too, don't you, Kat, as a family?
Yeah, so how we do Christmas has changed a lot. So we went from Christmas being an extremely lavish celebration where we used to spend ridiculous amounts of money giving presents to family members and stuff. And then we went the whole Adventist JW route where, Christmas is heathen and pagan and we didn't do birthdays or Christmas for years.
Right.
And it would probably be close to like 15 years,
Oh, really?
10, 15 years,
a
where
long
we
time.
just didn't do Christmases or birthdays for anyone in any shape, form. There was just no way. And then just recently, probably in the last maybe 5-6 years, we've decided that we are going to do Christmas, but we just do it in a very different way, which is, like you were saying, Dave, like we intentionally invite people that we know that are on their own from our community. Yeah. We don't even invite church members. Like it's literally a day to just make sure that people aren't alone. Because one of the things that we realized, we can use it as a opportunity to like reach out to people. There is not one, and as much as I know that biblically the 25th of December is not Jesus's birthday, it is the one time of the year where you will hear songs about Jesus in the shopping center.
Yeah.
And everyone is singing Silent Night.
And that sounds like opportunity.
Yeah, and for me, I'm like, okay, I totally understand. And like I said, going from we didn't celebrate anything to now being at the place where we feel this is the one time of the year. It's the one time of the year where people are more open to receiving the gospel message than they are any other time of the year. And if we can make this opportunity like for the gospel, not for the 25th of December and the little baby and all that, if we can make it for the opportunity to tell people about their savior, like I feel like that's a really well spent Christmas.
Amen.
How about for you guys? How's Christmas, dealt with in your family?
It's funny. My Christmas had, like, especially growing up, and it's sort of like a mixture of your Christmas now and your Christmas when you were younger, like, before, because Christmas at our place has always been a big deal. Not so much big expensive gifts, but the day was always a very lavish day, right? Like lots of food, lots of family, like as much of the family as we could wrap together at once was possible. It was always lots of fun and like definitely a highlight of the year sort of thing. And yes, gifts, but always the focus was always on people that didn't have people to come to Christmas. So yes, as much of our family was there, but we would also have as many people as possible that didn't have a family to have Christmas with. So the focus was always a focus for us as well. And so to that end, it like wasn't uncommon for us to, I'm an only child, right? So it's not like I've got lots of family to, siblings or whatever to be around. but Christmas was always, between 15 and 20 people because there was just lots of people that we knew that needed somewhere to be. And to me, it never occurred to me that was odd, because for my entire life, that's what Christmas looked like. And so to me, Christmas was that was what it was about. It was a time to get people together and love on people. Like, that was what it was for. So yeah, that's always what it's been for us. Yeah. And still is to a great extent. Like, there's less, probably like less Santa and less focus on gifts than there was when I was younger, but ostensibly it's still the same for us. So yeah, we try to focus around that. And since getting my own family together and that, so now it's more focused on just getting both sides of the family and into a room and spending some time together. But yeah, if there's ever anybody that we can welcome into that, we always try to. Yeah. So that's what it's like here. What about you?
Yeah, pretty standard.
Yeah.
More recently, it's sort of shifting a little bit. I was just saying to you guys, this year, as a family, we decided to sort of throw all of the funds we would normally have spent on each other for gifts into a pot and just give it to charity.
That's cool.
Yeah, which I think is probably something that we probably could have done for a while now. Because, like, I guess when you have children, they're in the family, I mean, there's probably more of a reason to, give gifts and, make it special and whatever. But my siblings and I are adults now, and so we have everything we need. So what's the point? Sometimes you end up just getting stuff that they don't really need, but you need to get them a present.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I'm a big fan of buying people food.
Mana.
Yes.
So you do like gifts. It just has to be fruit.
I know. That's why you keep coming back, man. I keep giving you food.
But it's so true. So my mum was trying to get gifts for all of us. So she sends me and she knows we're not like massive on Christmas. So she sends me a screenshot of like a Christmas T-shirt with Santa on a surfboard, like a comic Santa on a surfboard, little, pattern. And then it's like, ho, ho, ho. And she's like, do you think Stephen will wear this? And I'm like, Mum, are you for real? I'm like, no. But she was like, oh, but I need to get him something. And I think sometimes we fall into that trap of, okay, there's an expectation to do gifts. And so we are going to give something and we'll just give like a bath set.
Yeah.
Or something that's really random that'll kind of just fit anyone. Because I think sometimes we just fall under the pressure of what the expectation of Christmas is, and to step out of that may seem like you're against Christmas or whatever, but no, maybe you're just not really feeling the need to just get a gift because you just have to, or it's expected.
Well, I was talking to my sister about it the other day. Like, we were just conversing about it, and we were just saying, like, we don't need Christmas to get, if I knew they needed something, I'd get it for them. It doesn't matter whether it's Christmas or it's the middle of the year. Like, it's something that I know that would make them happy, so I'll get it for them, and vice versa. And so, because we're at that place now, it's like, there's really no need. What's the meaning? Yeah, really no need to go spending money unnecessarily on each other when there are people in the world who don't even have water to drink, or whatever. So we were just like, let's support somebody else who has a need, rather than just spending money for the sake of spending money. So. I mean, I'm certainly not saying that's what everybody should do, but I feel good about doing that this year. Yeah. And I really value what you were saying before about, I think Christmas is a great time to reach out of ourselves and to just share. I want to share ourselves with people, to share experience, to share community, and to, I guess, like, we're celebrating Jesus, and so it would be, I think, a fitting way to celebrate Jesus would be to do what Jesus would do. And Jesus was always all about people. So I think Christmas should be about people. No matter how we choose to celebrate it. To me, that's not the main point. The main point is, is it something that Jesus would do? And if so, then great, do it.
And I think the potential too, like, for us, one of the biggest convictions that we had was that Christmas is significant to a lot of people.
Yeah.
And for us, we found that just the way, in the area that we live in, there's a lot of elderly people who live away from, like, their family lives away from them. And so people that, don't go to church, they don't have family, they don't have any sense of community. Christmas and their birthdays are like the saddest times of the year, because it's the one time that they wish they had people with them, but they don't. And so for us, because we were under the conviction of we don't do birthdays, we don't do Christmas, there was like this awkward conviction of like, yeah, well, we don't stand for that stuff, but yet we see that how much people are suffering because they have a completely different understanding of what those two specific events represent to them and what they wished and longed that those events would give them, but it doesn't. And so we're like, right, well, what's more important in our conviction, to completely disregard these two events in people's lives, or can we use that as an opportunity to say, hey, you know what, there is a community that cares for you. There is some people that want to make that day special for you, whatever it looks like. And I remember it was like 3 years ago, there was a lady that Stevie would always go and visit, and she's an elderly lady, but she's an alcoholic. And she was a Japanese teacher. And so sometimes Stevie would go visit her with the girls after church if I had something else on. And so he would go and visit her, and she'd always like give the girls like origami paper and show them how to do things. But most of the time the lady was drunk. And so anyway, one Christmas, we were just doing a lot of stuff with her, and we realized, you know, that Christmas was a really significant day for her. And that usually that's the day that she drinks the most because she's so upset. So anyway, so we were like, well, let's invite her to our place for Christmas. So I invited her and another gentleman to our place for Christmas that day. And she came. She didn't drink that day because she knew she was going to come and hang out with us. And I remember the girls saying to us, they're like, Mom, the lady's name, she wasn't drunk today. Like even the girls could tell the difference between what they were used to seeing her like and what it was like to be her. And then all we heard for like weeks was how special that was for her. We gave her like steps to Christ with a little box of chocolates. And that just made it like for her. It was so significant. And that's when we realized, you know what, there comes a point where, yes, we can still be convicted that we don't want to do Christmas the traditional way or the way that, you know, we're told to make it really materialistic, but we can still use that to actually bring about healing and give hope and give a sense of love and community to someone.
Reminds me of, you know, Paul in 1 Corinthians 9, he says that to the weak he became as the weak, that he might win the weak. And he says, I've become all things to all men, that I might by all means save some. Now this I do for the gospel's sake, that I may be a partaker of it with you. So like you're saying, you know, you don't necessarily love, you know, the commercialism of Christmas, but for the sake of other people, you know, sometimes it's good to buy into that culture just enough so that you've got that opportunity to, as he says, potentially save some, you know, whereas if we stand back and we push back against it entirely and be like, no, that's not for me, then we've just excluded ourselves from, as you said, like one of the great opportunities of the year to really reach out to people and minister to a need. Because as you said, you know, like holidays can be like the hardest time of the year for, you know, a significant chunk of society. So it's a great opportunity.
There was we had an oversupply, I think it was zucchinis in our garden, or cucumbers, something like that. And like literally way more than we could eat. And so I said, well, I know what we're doing with them. So I put them in a bag and just started knocking on doors around our estate where we used to live. And I had enough to go and door knock and give all the way around our block. And I literally got to the house that was directly behind our house. I'd never met the people that lived there, but it turns out that there was an old couple living there. And, you know, he was with fairly advanced Alzheimer's. And so, you know, and she was looking after him, but it was getting to the place where he needed care. And so, you know, they were in the process of navigating that. But all of their kids were very successful people and all in every other location, and none of them were here and none of them wanted to be here because they didn't want to see their dad like that. And so they didn't help and they didn't ever come. And so they were just the most lonely two people I think I've ever seen. And we met them like the week before Christmas. And so, and they were, you know, the lady was like crying that they were going to be alone. I'm like, oh, no, you're not. You know, like, you don't get that. And, you know, they had Christmas with us, and their, it was, I think within a couple of days was their wedding anniversary as well, you know. And so we kind of celebrated with them, and we just befriended them while they were there. And it was only a few months like later that he had gone into care, and she had gone into the like one of the like at the same nursing home, but in like the low care area. And, you know, we helped them move and that, and we never really got to connect with them after that. But I can really see that God opened up that opportunity for us to be there, at least at that juncture for them, you know. And I think that if we're open to those opportunities, then God can utilize them. And Christmas can be a great point, because that was kind of like the entering wedge for us to then be able to be more helpful to them later. So, yeah. And I wanted to cycle back to something that you were saying before about, as much as 25th of December is not Jesus' birthday, I was talking to actually my neighbor on the other side across the street from me, and he was... he calls himself an atheist, but I got a confession out of him that he was an agnostic later. But some of the conversations I had with him were incredible, because he was really keen to talk about spirituality and that, even though he didn't believe in any of it, but he wanted to talk about it. And he said to me, I've done a lot of research. My sister dismantles Christians for a hobby. And I'm like, okay, sure. And he's like, they don't even know what they believe. Did you know that Jesus was not born on the 25th of December? I'm like, yes. And 95% of Christians also know that. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, that totally threw him. He's like, I don't quite know what to do with that. But, but I think a lot of people think of Christians as being ignorant, I guess you could say. And I think when we befriend them, when we use these opportunities to start those conversations, we get opportunities to show what we're really like, and that we actually do care about the individuals, And so I just think any opportunity we have to do that, whatever it looks like, has got to be a good thing. Yeah. So,
yeah.
It seems like, from what I'm hearing, what you guys are saying, it's like sometimes we can be too holy for any earthly good. We can do all the kind of the bells and whistles of Christianity and go all out, but perhaps maybe not doing it with, I guess, the right perspective, and I guess just stepping back, just making me realize, hey, we need to do a much better job of that Paulian model of Christianity. It's trying to be that adaptable, be that chameleon, and to trying to reach people where they are. Because that's what
Christians. I love that.
There we go. T-shirt.
Yeah, I'm writing that down.
But you know what? And I think with that, for me personally, in our own experience, so we went from, okay, there's people that are lonely. Let's be community and let's be family for them. But I wouldn't spend a Christmas with my family. And then God's like, okay, so you'll be family to someone else, but you won't be family to your own family.
Yeah, right.
And that was really, because it's you feel no, but I have to stand for something with them. There's more of a responsibility on me to show them that this is why I don't do Christmas, but yet I'll have random strangers and I'll cook for them a Christmas meal. And so for us, even now, so we literally just came back from Brisbane because my mum wanted to do Christmas and she wanted to do Christmas earlier. So we had Christmas dinner with them, and it was so random because we've never done a big Christmas like that, and our girls have never done it. So mum had little Santa napkin holder things, and it was just very Christmassy. It was overly Christmassy for me. But I just had to navigate that and be I'm here for my mum. I'm here for my stepdad. I'm here to do this because we haven't done it. This was literally the first time where we have been down there for Christmas, and it was based on that. It was how much
she would have been so stoked there.
She was. It's my mum's the same type of person. Christmases and birthdays are super significant for her, and that's when she wants her kids around her. But yet, for many years, I've just been no, because that's pagan. No, we don't do Christmas and we don't do birthdays. And God's okay, well, if you minister to other people, please understand that you also need to minister to your family. And I found because my stepdad, he says he's more than just an atheist. That's what he calls himself. I'm more than just an atheist, because he's an atheist that hates Christians. So I've realized the more that he's seen my willingness to take part in their things, they pray at every meal with us now when we're at their place.
That's
they stop.
Huge for
it's
someone
massive
that's got that
for
kind
someone
of
who
perspective.
hates Christianity, hates it with a passion, to have to sit and wait to eat his food because we have to pray. I've seen so much more room for us to be more accepting of each other because I haven't been so we don't do your stuff, we don't, and don't get me wrong, I'm not going to be at a place he's a big drinker, I'm not going to get to a place where I'm just going to have a beer because we're going to, I would just want to be like him and make her, no, I'm not going to be like that. But at the same time, I know very well the difference between I can sit and have a meal with my family, and even though there's Santa decorations on the table, it's okay.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay.
Yeah, the food is not defiled by the decorations,
Exactly,
right? Yeah.
but for me, like, we've come from a place where it's like we don't want anything to do. Like I was telling Dave before, like people at our church didn't know if they could say Merry Christmas to us
Yeah.
during like the 2 weeks leading up to Christmas, because we were like, do you know what Christmas really stands for? It's Christ Mass, you know.
Yeah.
Like, so we've come from that space to now I'm literally sitting and my napkins wrapped around a Santa Claus. Like it was just, it was really confronting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was just like, remember what I'm here for. Understand the purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you reckon when Jesus was eating with tax collectors and sinners that he had to navigate some of that?
I think so. I think so. And it would have in all levels, like the conversation, the food, the dress. Like
but he did
everything.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he was able to stand in that and still know what his purpose was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think because he loved them. You know, like he just genuinely loved those people, and so if that's where they were, that's where he was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, I think that's like really important, and I think as we navigate whatever, like wherever we stand on this Christmas thing, like really just see, like what could this be used for? Yeah. Because we've gone from like don't even say Christmas to, hey Santa, let me just wipe my mouth clean.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've just been reflecting on this, and as I think about the reason for Christmas itself, like I sometimes feel like the purpose of it is lost in the ether. Like for example, I was wondering, what do you guys think of how like the story of Christmas, the whole Bethlehem experience, and like how like do you sometimes like that can get lost in the conversation in society, or do you think that we do a good enough job in sharing that story? Are there more creative ways we could be sharing that story at this time?
That's a good question.
Yeah, so something that I've just thought came up to my mind.
One example that I think a really good example of that is, at least locally here, the Bethlehem Live, the program that's put on by like a collection of churches here in Bundaberg. For anyone that hasn't seen it, basically they set up like a bunch of booths and they make it look like an old school marketplace, and they set it up as Bethlehem. And as you walk through it, you can see people like that are making pottery, and like the people weaving, exactly, doing all of those period kind of things. But at the end of the process, you get to see the presentation, which explains the incarnation, and you see the camels, and like you've got the feel that's going on where it's explaining that, putting the focus there on Christ. And here in Bundaberg, anyway, that is so well supported.
Wow.
There are thousands and thousands and thousands of people that go through that place. Wow. And I think that's a great example of Christians that are doing a good job of keeping that at the top of the public consciousness. I think it is way too far down the list in a lot of places, but I think that there are people trying to do good things with that. So, but yeah, I agree. I think we need to be conscious of that, because if we're not elevating the real message, then it's going to get crowded out, because the real message doesn't pay the bills. The commercialism pays the bills for most of the businesses, and so of course that's where the focus is going to lie, and that shouldn't be a surprise. But we need to give conscious thought to that if we're going to speak into that world, right?
Yeah. The best way I reckon we can do it, Oro? Christmas is about incarnation, right? The Word became flesh. I think if our words became flesh at Christmas time, that'd probably be the best way we could be sharing the Christmas message, Amen. Just putting our money, our time, our effort where our mouth is for the rest of the year.
Yeah. And to add to another thing, and this was another conviction that I had when I was, working through this whole Christmas thing. What day do I acknowledge the birth of Jesus? Like, do I take a time in the year to be like, God, thank you for sending Jesus in the form of a human being to live a life that I could like follow. Yeah. I mean, all of heaven came down to like announce what Jesus was signifying. I'm like, do I actually pause any time during the year, whether it's the 25th of December or whether it's sometime in like March or whatever date? Do I really sit and reflect on the significance of like
Yeah.
God coming down to us. And I don't think we do. I don't think we really sit and reflect on the essence of what we claim. If Jesus is the reason for the season, do we do that any other time of the year? And so I'm generally in December, that's what I'm reflecting on.
Yeah.
The fact that God came down for me, and what his life signified and represented. I think let's not miss that as well, because I think we may actually completely in this, I guess, in the fear of not becoming of complying or somehow, partaking of this pagan thing, we may actually completely not take any chance to acknowledge the significance of Jesus' birth.
That's a really good point.
We mentioned earlier about, some of us have kind of abandoned the idea of gift giving. You mentioning that just kind of reminded me of those wise men, just offering their best of what they had.
Yeah.
And it just just the thought just came to my mind as just you were reflecting on it. It's am I giving the best of what I've got to God? Am I commemorating this day, Jesus' incarnation, with everything that I have, just as they did. They went to no expense. They gave everything, and it's wow. I hope I'm doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. When you were saying that, I'm thinking about it in my own context. I don't know about you, but I feel like in some aspects of life, you could if you measured it differently, your time versus your resources or whatever. There are some areas of my life I feel like I'm giving, just like you're saying, really, really well. But as you were speaking, then I'm realizing, there's some areas of my life that I'm not giving as generously as I am in others. So it's a really good point. Really good point.
And it's a great way to start the year off. To
True.
be reflecting on that. Hey,
Yeah.
how can I give more? Or what can I give more of? Because of the fact that God came to save me.
Biggest gift ever.
Yeah.
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 So we've spoken about the better options, I guess you could say, right? We've spoken about that. We've talked about our previous experience and perhaps ways that those experiences can be improved. Just as we're moving toward the end of the conversation, any particular avenues that you guys want to go down? Anything that you think is worthwhile us exploring still?
No, I think it's just that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've all come from different perspectives. I've gone from the no Christmas to now, hey.
Santa wipe my mouth. Yeah.
There's room for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Santa slide across my mouth. Yeah. I think there's room for that, and I think allow yourself the room for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially for a divine purpose.
Yeah. I think that's great, and I think we're going to certainly encourage the people who are listening to make this Christmas the best one, right? Make it the best one that if Jesus was hanging out with us as individuals this Christmas, that he would be proud to do whatever it is that we're doing, whatever that might look like. And so we wish you guys a Merry Christmas, and also wish you the best for the upcoming year. We'll try to put out another episode for New Year, but in the meantime, wish you all the best, and thank you for joining us for this episode. If you've enjoyed it, share it with your friends, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Yeah.